All right, everybody, good morning. Welcome to Thursday. Hope you're doing great, everybody. Let's see what Spirit wants us to know today. Welcome in. Next Tuesday, I kick off my brand new astrology program with 3 live nights talking about 2026 astrology. I'm going to tell you what to look for, give you some forecasts, some predictions for next year, and then we will get into the content of the class, build you from the ground up to be an amazing astrologer. That's my game, and how to harness the energy for yourself. Okay. All right. If you're still reacting to life, this class is going to help you not do that anymore. All right. Let's get going today. What wants to come through? Bloom where you're planeted. Indeed. Synchronicity is a love letter from the universe across time and space. There are no wrong turns. This is a message for somebody. You feel like you've taken a wrong turn, or you feel like you don't know where you're going. A light grows brighter only by lighting another. So it's definitely something here about helping somebody else find their path. And you can't do it by like, hey, your path's over there. You have to just like shine your own light, and hopefully they'll see their own path by the light you shine. Okay, that's what we're doing when we say just shine your light, because other people may be inspired by you in ways you have no idea. I mean, some of the things that I've read from you guys, messages, notes, comments below the video is just so inspiring to me about how you've been able to kind of like navigate through all the messages and find the message that's meant for you. Okay. That's what a lot of you are doing when you're watching these. And I wholly support that, which is why I do them every day. All right. So underneath is the Hanged Man, the Temperance card, the Queen of Cups, the Devil card, the Knight of Cups, and the Justice card. So we're definitely in Libra time. And I feel like what's being asked of us is to take another look. Now that can mean something different to each one of you. Take another look at the situation you're in right now. Look at it differently. Are you seeing things clearly? Are you seeing that someone is not a good influence or a negative connection to you? Or are you seeing them as a king, right? This is really, I feel like this is a spiritual message targeted at people who are maybe not seeing a certain person or other people in their life correctly for whatever reason. And I was watching a video the other day about this guy who's like, I guess, former CIA or something like that. He was talking about, he was an interrogator, whatever. So paying attention to people when you just meet them. And he's like, he was being interviewed, and this woman was asking him, like, how do you know a narcissist or a psychopath or something like that? And he was like, well, if you spend 2 or 3 hours with a real narcissist, they crack. Like they can't, if you are having the experience of not having a lot of time with a person and they're really pushing you to move forward in the relationship very quickly, but they're not, at the same time, they're not letting you get to know them very well, that's a big red flag. But what he said that was really so interesting was about psychopaths. He was talking about, I think I want to read you what he said because I wrote it down. I was like, oh yeah, this is interesting. He said, the psychopath pulls you in by becoming what you need. They scan your communication, the stories you choose to tell, things like that. And the minute they know what you need or what you need to hear, they say it or they do it. And what happens then is they give you back what you need or what you want. And so you're like, yeah, I kind of like this person, because that's how we develop camaraderie, is we share the same things in common. And so you're like, yeah, I like this person. And that develops into, yeah, I trust this person. So you're developing a cognitive blind spot. Okay. Because a lot of times, later on, whenever you see, and I've seen this a couple of times in my life, when you have a friend or somebody who is with a really toxic individual, or you see them stuck in a very bad situation, but they're like, but it wasn't always like this. They were so wonderful to me, or that's not really what they're like, or something like that. It's likely, if everybody else is like, that person's toxic, and the person who's stuck in it is like, no, really, you don't understand. A lot of times that person has developed a cognitive blind spot. And it continues. I mean, it continues right on up through you kind of throwing over what is your own best interest, just so you don't have to embrace the real truth. So my little camera doesn't want to stay. You might throw over your cognitive awareness because you have some kind of dog in the fight, that this person has got to be the person that I said they were. If I'm wrong, that means I was wrong all that time ago. And all of this will be nothing. It will be like, I have to believe that there was some redeeming value here, or I feel like I will be lost. Like, my sense of who I am will evaporate. It won't. But I'm just saying to you that somebody here is having that experience of, I have to, I have a blind spot where this person is concerned. And if I see it, then all the things I was saying to myself were lies. I think you're being a little harsh on yourself, just saying. That everything that I will have said or believed or done, and we can go down that rabbit hole, but will have been lies or will have been based on a lie. And sometimes that's too much to bear, especially if it includes like the bulk of your life. I've been living this lie, or my children are involved, or my family's involved, or my money is involved, or something, or something. And this is the thing, like the longer that people stay in these things, the more they fight to not admit the truth. They will fight to not admit the truth. And it's almost like brainwashing, like in a cult. I talk about the knitting cult lady all the time. I totally love her. She's, you can go check her out on YouTube here. And she talks about cults, and she talks about cult behavior, and about there needs to be, you can't do it from the outside. Like, you have had the experience of a very good friend who has a terrible spouse or boyfriend or girlfriend, and you see it so clearly, and they just resist you every single time you say it. So you kind of stop saying it, and they end up getting clobbered by this person, and it's just a bad scene. But what Knitting Cult Lady talks about is the crack in the brainwashing. That something will happen that will make a crack in their belief about the particular situation. So that might be you. You might have a very strong belief in something, and the crack in the brainwashing is like cognitive dissonance, so strong that it's almost like, well, we in New England know what it means to have a fissure in the foundation of your house, and water gets in, and it freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws and freezes and thaws, and eventually there's a giant, river flowing through your basement. I have seen that. I have looked at houses that have rivers in the basement. And, to fix that is a big deal, right? To fix that is a big deal. So there's something here about, and this could be in a family too, that everybody kind of just stands around and acts like dad isn't drunk, or acts like, older brother doesn't have a rage problem, or whatever it is. Like everybody just acts like, oh, it's nothing to see here. Just like in South Park, everybody sing louder, like when the parts don't make sense. So I'm getting a lot of that in this, where it's like, look, nothing to see here. No big deal. Nothing to see here. I can't show you that card on YouTube because they'll yell at me. Can't show you this card either. The star, the tower. I can show you that card. Ironic, isn't it? The tower, the Queen of Pentacles, Ten of Cups, Queen of Swords. That is like the crack in the brainwashing right there. Queen of Swords, Three of Swords, Nine of Swords, the Sun, and the King of Pentacles. King and Queen of Pentacles here. There's something here about, this might be different for each one of you in your own life, that there's something that you're kind of wallpapering over. There's something that like doesn't make sense, or you're hiding from yourself. You don't want to admit. You're kind of just glossing over something that you might need to address. And I feel like the Tower is coming. And it might have to do with some truth that needs to be told. It might have to do with some habit that needs to be healed. And where did that habit come from, right? You're like self-soothing by buying a lot of shoes or whatever you're doing. Like there's something here. And I feel like there's this sense of a light grows brighter only by lighting another. So the more of you that have these cracks in the brainwashing and kind of your own life, because, I'm using brainwashing very loosely here, but like your own, how you think reality works. And through your spiritual practice, you have seen and maybe have aligned with a different frequency, aligned with your true nature, realized that you were told a lie about who you were your whole life or something like that. And you have come out the other side of it. So there was a painful part of it, just like birth, there's a painful part of it. Change, pain is inevitable. Suffering is a choice. And suffering is when you choose to continue to look at the thing and say, nothing to see here. Because, just like a pebble in your shoe, eventually you won't be able to walk. It might be no big deal when it first starts, but eventually you won't be able to walk. And so I feel like there's a lie at the core of something, or a belief that you had that isn't true, or something like that. And eventually it's going to pop through. This Nine of Swords is saying, okay, you're going to have this truth pop through, and it's going to it could feel like a tower or feel like the sun breaking through. Like, what's the difference? It's like a shining of a light. All of a sudden, right? Aha. All of a sudden. Just got the Ten of Pentacles flipped here. All of a sudden, Ten of Pentacles, Emperor, Page of Cups, and the Eight of Cups. Some of you are seeing your spiritual path and starting to head down it. Okay. And I feel like you've stopped yourself a bunch of times because you're afraid to take a wrong turn. There are no wrong turns. Okay. And there are no wrong turns. Follow the synchronicities, follow the signs. If you can uproot some kind of belief that you have, like, I'm just going to give you an example so you can make it more concrete. Some of you have a belief that you are unworthy of love. And so whenever love comes close, you push it away, even though you want it. You might sabotage things. You might decide it's easier to be alone, or that person doesn't really love me. They're just being nice, or they're just, they're manipulating. They're trying to get something out of me or something like that. And you finally see how your behavior or your thinking isn't really in alignment because you are worthy of love. And so all of this weird stuff that was happening on the surface of your life, if you could just get in there and fix that one belief that is totally wrong, You're worthy of all the abundance, all the love. Every single one of you is whole and perfect and beautiful right now. None of you has to be healed or anything like that. All you have to be is true. All you have to be is aligned. All you have to be is see the whole thing, warts and all. That's all. It's the shoving things in a basement that make it twisted. Okay? And I feel like there's a sense of figuring out what that lie is at the core here, figuring out what that core thing that has sent me down these roads. And I see it now. Okay. Now my compass works. My compass works. If you were told you weren't valuable, that's a lie. And you believed it because of who said it, and you believed it. And so you acted as if. And it screwed up everything. It screws up everything. And now that you realize you're valuable and whole and lovable and wonderful, now you can move forward. There's no, if you have like a real when I say something like that to you, when I say like, hey, you're beautiful, wonderful, right the way you are, and you're like, no, still have that belief. You still do. So that's the work right now. Okay, that's the work right now. I'm not saying this is an effort. But I'm saying that you're worthy and valuable right as you are right now, with all the warts and flaws and all the stuff and everything like that. But one thing that you are is worthy. Okay? Page of Pentacles. That's what we're learning here. Page of Pentacles, 8 of Pentacles, 3 of Cups, and the Knight of Pentacles. So if you're hanging around with people who kind of reinforce that negative belief of yourself, get away from that. All right. I want you to start doing this. And I realized I was doing this just all on my own. I used to be like, you're not good enough to do this, or you're not smart enough to do that. Or this was all messages I got as a kid. And whenever I come up against something that's difficult for me, now I hear myself saying, I don't even know when it started. But now I hear myself saying, you can do it. You can do this. I know you can. You can do this. And it probably does track back to when I started this channel in 2017, when I faced some incredible odds. And it was like what came out of me was some kind of like awareness of a light. And I'm like, I'm serving that light. Right? And because whenever I served that light that I was shining on the world, that seemed to be the right thing. Things started growing. Things started blooming. Things started opening up. Whenever I hid my own light and got smaller, because that was my coping mechanism for staying safe, then things would contract. So I just was like, oh. And then I grew this channel and I grew what I'm doing, and I met all of you wonderful people, and I'm part of this amazing YouTube community because I've done it. And you can too. And if you haven't done it yet, you can. If you are in this spiritual community right now, a lot of you are being called. I just did that Pisces reading. A lot of you are being called to really step into your mission and purpose in a very tangible way. Not just like, oh, I'm going to learn how to meditate this weekend. Like, oh, that's all awesome. Okay. But this is much more, I feel, about really shining this light. And I know this year I have had this message come in this morning reading more than once. So let's see where it's going this time. Okay. And I do see some of you maybe have been open to this year, maybe even last year. And now you're kind of like, all right, so where are we going with this? Let's take a look. All right. Link is below. If this is your reading, Pathfinders, we're just going to keep on going. See you over there. All right. I hope you enjoyed that video. If it was helpful to you, please consider liking this video and sharing it with anybody who might have a need for similar kind of information. And if you like this video, check out these videos.